So hi everyone, welcome to Tech Tuesday. Today we are continuing on our conversation about lead follow-up. And when we talked last time, we were kind of talking about how to make sure we're sounding genuine and how we can do like a lot of follow-up at scale. We wanted to continue that conversation. Now, some of you guys were on the previous call where we talked about using a CRM system and what CRM to use. But for some people, that is still a bit too complicated or maybe further down the road from where they're at. So, what I want to talk about is kind of take a step back and let's talk about maybe some of the simple tools, everyday tools that we have that we can use to create a good, solid process for following up with our leads. And the beauty of this process that we're going to use is you can easily put it into your CRM later when you're ready for that point. So what I'm going to try to drop in the chat here, if we can get this all working, is a sample spreadsheet. And it's not a super complex spreadsheet. It's just a basic one to get us started. And for those that came to our workshop for lead nurture, you probably already have this one. You can open this program in Excel if you have it, or you can open it up in Google Sheets if you prefer that. It really doesn't matter which program you're using. It really is just a way for you to start with a spreadsheet. Go to, let's say, a networking meeting. That's where Tom and I met, or maybe we're going to a training session like this and you're meeting other people. Hopefully in the chat or somewhere, you're able to share your information. And it's really difficult sometimes because you probably can't just sit there and copy and paste every single one as they're coming in. So most people will go and save that entire chat and then later need to come back and put it someplace. So I created this very basic template to get us started with who are the people. Now, one thing I like to do is, let's say there was a room this morning, I was on a training and there were 75 people in the room. I probably don't want to know 75 people. I probably would prefer to know maybe two or three of them and somebody that has a good connection for me for a specific reason. Let's say in the chat, they tell you, oh, type in, where are you from? And a lady in the chat actually said she's from Michigan and I live in Chicago. So we're neighbors ish. And so I like to remember kind of little things like that and say, hey, that could be just a good starter reason why I would want to connect with them. Maybe they've said something about their business. Maybe it's either a service I need, a service one of my clients needs, or I think that they're going to be a good business partner for me. So as you're getting that information, you can just go ahead and start putting it into each of these little columns. Now, I simplified this, but if you're good with spreadsheets, you can add as many additional columns of information as you want. So you'll see I only have right now one column for name, which usually they're going to give you first name, last name in one string of characters. Now, later on, when you want to go maybe say hi to them, when you want to use mail merge, when you want to use their CRM, you're going to want to separate this into first name, last name into two different columns. But right now, again, when we're talking about how do we use a simple tool we have and gather that information quickly so we can go action it, I say just dump it in there in the quickest, easiest format you can, which is just going to be first name, last name. Then they probably gave you some kind of contact information, just like we just did in the chat. Maybe it's an email, maybe it's some other sort of social media like LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever is their preferred way of getting a hold of you. And so even though I've called this column email, one, you can make multiple columns, or you can just say contact information. And then you can just put all the different links in there. So you make sure you have at least one way to get a hold of them. If they've given you a bunch, I would be careful not to put a bunch all in the same little section. I would go ahead and have another column for maybe notes. You can dump the 5 or 6 ways they give you to get a hold of you, and then just put one in here, which is what you prefer maybe as the main way to get a hold of them. Now, I have another column in here, which is because I've been doing this kind of networking for almost 5 years. So I've met a lot of people throughout the way. In the last week, it's so funny because I've run into people I haven't seen in a year or two, but all of a sudden they're popping back up into my sphere of influence. So if I've already kind of met them before, I like to label them as a contact. And then if I haven't met them before, or this is kind of a preliminary, maybe I saw them in another meeting but didn't actually talk to them, I label them as a lead. That's completely up to you if you want to make that differentiation, but sometimes it helps maybe to also, again, prioritize the people you already know for that secondary follow-up. I always leave a nice big column for notes because there's going to be other things that happen throughout the course of conversation, throughout the course of training, the chat, that you might just want to note down, and it may not have a particular rhyme or reason, and you don't want to have 75 columns in this basic spreadsheet. It may be as simple as, hey, they want to be on my podcast. And that's your note. So you have an action item of what's the action I need to take with them? Because by the time you go back and look at the spreadsheet, even probably 24 hours later, you're not going to remember all these people. So then I begin a careful process of, okay, when did I connect with them? And this could also be maybe where did I connect with them, right? If I'm putting multiple things in a spreadsheet. I actually really like to just have one spreadsheet per event. So I make sure I'm thorough in my follow-up for that event, and I'm not commingling a bunch of different things that I might have done throughout the week. And I would like to do as many follow-ups that are priority within 24 hours. That could be as simple as connecting with them, let's say on LinkedIn. It could be sending them a quick hello on email. And if maybe they've given the calendar link, you could actually go ahead and set up a meeting. That way you don't have a lot of back and forth. I'll show you a secret in this template, which I find very helpful, but I've hidden it just again because as simple as it's possible to make, it's best. Up here, there's a little plus sign, and I've actually collapsed a bunch of columns. You'll see this column for first follow-up is actually F, and this purple one over here for connected is M. So this is, let's say I only have email or LinkedIn and I sent them a request, but maybe they're not prompt in replying. Maybe it's Friday and I'm not going to get back to them till Wednesday of the following week. So I try to make a note to say, hey, in 1 week, I'd like to do a follow-up if I've missed them. And so then you can start putting real dates in here so that you have a sequence of events. You'll notice for the first follow-up, I usually do wait about a week just because we have so many different platforms, so many different ways of connecting right now. It gets a little bit overwhelming if you're trying to talk to them every single day. I do wait kind of 1 more week for that second follow-up if there hasn't been some kind of immediate connection. And then if they seem like they're kind of going cold and there isn't a priority to be connecting with them, then I put them for follow-up a month later. And I actually then just fill in those dates once I know, what that first follow-up was and they haven't come back to me. So this is a nice kind of easy way to go through those follow-ups. I usually do those 4 follow-ups for each person. And after that, I kind of move them over into a cold column. Now, I'll close that up and just talk about, so, hey, we connected. When did we connect? Did we have a meeting? Was it just an email? And what are the next steps? Do you owe them something? Are they going to get on your podcast? How do you get them scheduled? And so again, you have very clear next steps for each person that you're trying to interact with. So this is a great kind of simple template that's in here, and it's an easy way to do this. What I looked at is when I looked at other download templates that different software companies had, they pretty much had these same pieces of information. There were 1,000 other things you could collect if maybe you know their phone number, their mailing address, and a bunch of other stuff if you're going to go back and send them postcards. Depends on your business on what other information you might need. But it's very easy to add a column in here, and you can just usually, if you're on a Mac, right click, you can insert a column and you can add something else in here that's relevant to you. The reason I want folks to start using spreadsheets for this tracking has a bigger picture connotation. I know a lot of us are using, let's say, notepads or maybe a digital notebook, and that's great because it's nice and searchable. But when you use a spreadsheet, it allows you to upload it in a lot of other places. One could be your CRM when you build that out later on, or if you already have a CRM, it makes it very easy to upload. All you do is match the fields in your CRM to the columns in the spreadsheet, and all that information will magically be in there for you to track those follow-ups directly. The other thing is what we're going to talk about next, which is a tool you probably have, email. And so there's some great saving ways that you can use your regular email inbox to connect with people without needing a big mail program like MailChimp or, again, something connected to your CRM. These can also leverage these spreadsheets. So it's really a great start to your process if you always go from the spreadsheet model to whatever the next thing is for following up. So I'm going to pop over to my email and just confirm you guys can see the email tab now. That's my very green email. Yeah, good. And so what you can do here is when you click the compose button and you say, can't wait to meet you, and type in some little message, right? Hi, Tom. It was great to meet you the other day. So glad to see you doing well. There you go. See, nothing too fancy. It's my usual sign off. And then let's say, well, I don't have a call to action in this email. I want to make sure that whoever I'm following up with has a way to get a hold of me. Yes, they can email me back, but then we're going to be here forever. If I'd rather just get on a call, what I'm going to say is grab time on my calendar here. And you can add in Calendly or many other software programs directly into your browser. So now instead of having to go find my Calendly link, I can just go right here. This is a plugin and it will insert that link right into the email. I can also do one-off meetings. So let's say I want to suggest a very specific time to get together or a specific type of meeting. I can also use this one-off meeting and I'll make it a little bit bigger. There's a one-off meeting. And so then it'll open up my Calendly, go through a whole bunch of things, and then I can go propose like some specific times that line up with my schedule. So it's great because you have two options. I already reduce my Calendly to very small amounts of time that are very specific to when I know I'm going to be available and in the office. But if you have kind of a general one and maybe it's going to be too many time slots or you need to meet with them by next Friday, then you might want to suggest some times before then specifically, and hopefully those work. Mostly I like to let people self-serve. I think most people are used to using these kind of calendar apps now. So other than Tom's name here, nothing is too specific to what I'm saying in this follow-up. So what I want to show you is a way to, again, speed up this process. Let's say you write a little bit of a longer email that has a little more information about maybe you or your business or ways that you want to invite people to, let's say, an event you're hosting soon. So instead of all that, let's say I'm having this great event, details below. Hope to see you there. Now, it's not that much information, right? Date, time, place, but it's something you don't want to type 500 times. And yes, you could copy and paste, and that gives you a little bit of time saving. But here's a great thing that you can do, and it works in most email programs. Right now, I'm currently using Gmail. If you go to this three-dot menu at the bottom of your Gmail where it says more options, you're going to see something that says templates. I have a couple of templates that are in here, but you can save this draft as a template and you can basically make a new name for it. So if I was overwriting my great to meet you template I already had, that's great. But if we're going to say, let's save this instead of can't wait to meet you, let's say this is our event invite template. So now I've saved this as a template. So now every time I want to send this same email to somebody, one, I can just highlight that I put a name here and remember that I need to change that. But I have pretty much a form email ready to go. And so it saves a lot of time because you're probably telling people the same couple of things. If you're inviting them to a place where you're speaking, if you're launching a new book, if you have a new podcast episode or you're looking for new guests, you probably do the same couple of things over and over again. And you don't really need to customize that message. You probably can write it once, refine it maybe a little bit with chat if you want, and then save it.
Hey,
Then you
Nikki,
can,
I'm
yeah,
sorry. I'm looking on
beautiful.
email and I'm not seeing where you're talking about my three dots don't say template. I'm in Gmail.
You're in Gmail.
Those three dots where you are says
You
label,
don't,
plain
you have
text,
label.
print.
And you don't have templates.
Nope.
Ah,
No.
interesting.
Now I have a different paid Gmail account. Do you think that has it instead of the regular?
This is my paid business account with Workspace.
Okay, let me check
So,
my work.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't have it either.
and
And are
it
you,
might be a setting. Let's see. Let's find out. This is why we do this stuff together with templates. Templates for Gmail. Oh, we have to turn on templates. See, I did it so long ago. We didn't know. All right. So from your inbox where you started, there's a gear icon in the top left, top right-hand corner. Sorry. And I would go see all settings. This should pop up a whole menu of stuff. Perfect. Okay, so it's hard to tell, but these are other additional menu tabs here. You're going to go all
nope.
the way almost to the right and you're going to click Advanced. And under Advanced, there is Templates.
Oh,
And you
how
just
about
click
that?
Enable.
How about that?
See, you guys love to stump me. I love this. This is fantastic. And we do it on the fly and we figure it out.
Good job.
Now we have instructions saved for everybody else to learn too. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it should be nice and easy. Yeah, this is one of those tricky things is when you're in here and you just click the gear icon, it just sort of opens up this little like lame one that's more about the cosmetic part of your email. There, you have to click in here to really get all the other settings, which is a ton of stuff. Your auto response if you're on vacation, your signature, etc.
Yes.
Yep.
Nailed
Good.
it. Awesome. And you can make a ton of templates in here. You can also fix the templates too. So let's say you're going a little fast and you make your first template and then you realize, oh, I have a spelling error. I spelled my own name wrong. Or you want to add maybe more information to your signature to give them your phone number or rewrite your email address or something like that. You can easily just resave it over that same template and it's no big deal. So I just did that and then it's saved over the same template. It's you just click it again and you'll be able to update it. So I love this one because it's super simple and it's a way to, you don't have to have a fancy program. You don't need to have a bunch of graphics. You can just write a normal email and you're there to go. So then what I wanted to talk about is related to how to use this to send the email and why we went through the spreadsheet. So in here, you can click in the two and you can put in recipients. So you don't want to keep typing people's email over and over and over again. So yes, I can go to that spreadsheet and I can click and copy someone's email and it's just say name at email.com or whatever it happens to be. We won't send it to this person, but just in case you know what it should look like. And we fat finger things, we put a comma instead of a period. Weird things happen every time we do this. But what you want to do is you want to hover over it and actually add it to your contacts. So Google has a way to store all your contacts in here, just like if you had a very robust CRM. So that way it remembers who this person is. Now, if in this case, right, it didn't recognize this as a real person, the other thing you can do as you go in there to save it for contacts is we want to go and we should have just had a new contact come in here, maybe not. And you can actually add their name to it. So you can go in and add other information and fix what else. So that's one way if, again, you have their email address right there. But then as you start to type their name, oh, Tom's email is going to come right up as I type it. Now, what if you want to send this same email to a lot of people, especially when you're having an event? The other thing I want to show you is over here in the top right-hand corner. So you should have like CC, BC, and then you'll have another like kind of double head with a plus sign, which is for the mail merge. So this thing allows you to, again, use that spreadsheet so that you could actually send this same email as an individual email to all those people. So instead of sitting here one at a time, copying and pasting the emails, or they're not all in your contacts or not all labeled properly, you can add from a spreadsheet. And so when you go here, it'll just go to your normal drive or your computer. You can pick that spreadsheet and then you can pick all the people that you want to send the email to. So it's a nice way to speed up again that process if you're sending everybody the same email, and it will just basically cascade individual emails and send them out from there. So normally it just picks up the spreadsheet and it allows you to put everybody in there. So it should be everybody that's on that tab. So one of the things I do is if I don't want to send it to everybody in the spreadsheet, I pick the people that I want to send it to, I put it on another tab, and then I just tell it to do that particular tab. It's going to look for the field that says email, and it's going to look for the at Gmail, at Yahoo, at whatever kind of
Okay.
spreadsheet, and it'll go from there.
That's great.
Yeah,
Nice
that-
and easy,
that would
right?
be
Yeah.
huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be huge.
We'll make a note of that and see, like, okay, mail merge not in the menu. Okay, we'll find another workaround for that. Yeah, and this is the thing is like a lot of times the reason why people don't use the features is because everything's hidden. So if you don't know to go turn all these things on,
Hmm.
I've used mail merge a ton of times before when I used to have to send paper letters out to our financial planning clients. And I had a Word document, I had a database that exported everything into Excel. I would merge it, print it, and then go sit there and fold 500 letters to go out. And so then as I started using Outlook and at least Microsoft products, I knew I could still do that, carry over that same Word function into Outlook. So my friend Avital just showed me that we could do this in Gmail too. So it's fantastic because it's something everybody has. And so you don't need to buy a new tool. You can just use your basic spreadsheets and then you can use your regular Gmail. But it will look like to the recipient, they're getting one particular email. So how is that? Is that helpful? Does that kind of give you guys some ideas?
Yep.
The other piece I'll show you is kind of a workaround to that mail merge. Let's say maybe you do need to customize them, or maybe there are different people in that spreadsheet. Maybe some of those people are interested in your book, some people are interested in your podcast, and maybe those don't cross over. When you go into your contacts, the other thing you can do is you'll see this big create contacts button here on the left. You'll see you can create one contact at a time, or you also have a create multiple contacts option. When you do that, it allows you to do exactly the same thing. You can go and import those contacts from that spreadsheet. Oh, I think because this is an Excel file and not a CSV. That's why it doesn't like this. All right, well, let's fix it and I'll show you how to do that. Needless to say, once you have the spreadsheet in here, it'll upload it and then all your contacts are in there, both their name and their email. So again, it gives you a way to simplify like storing all those contacts. They don't stay in the spreadsheet forever. Let's open that spreadsheet and I'm going to show you how to change it. And how do you know the difference? This is a different spreadsheet, but it's basically the same one. This is the sample one from Google, which said, here's all the things that you can upload into that contacts tab. It's got name, first name, last name, phonetic spelling, sounding of your name, email, 800 emails, 5 phone numbers, couple of addresses, birthday, whatever else you want to store for them. So I went in there and said, okay, what are all the things that we could store for that Google contact? And here's a great template. So they already give it to you in a CSV file. Let's save as. And you'll see when you do save as instead of regular save, it'll tell you what type of file this is. So this is not technically an Excel workbook. This is a CSV file or a comma delimited file. Basically, what that means is if you took all of the pretty columns and rows out of your spreadsheet, and this was just a big pile of data that was sort of ones and zeros that a computer could read, that's what a CSV file is. So it allows other computer programs to read it. It takes out all of that spreadsheet formatting so that it can just pull the pure data from the spreadsheet, but it puts it in a format that's readable to other software programs. Normally when you're working in here, it's an Excel workbook or some of these old versions of Excel workbooks. And it doesn't matter to you. On the front end, you're going to see the same thing. All that matters is on the back end, how it's coding to the computer program. So if we save it then as a CSV, then it should be able to upload this particular template. So let's just go again, and we're going to just not put a ton of information as name 1, last name 2. Well, that's middle name. If we have people's middle names, we're getting a lot of information out of people. Cool guy is our nickname for them. And I'm just going to put my email in here so we have a real email address to practice with. So I'm not filling in every single file. I'm just going to do those couple of ones. And then let's see if we can get it to go into the Gmail. Import, select file. Now that it's a CSV file, we don't have an issue with it wanting to upload. This means Google can read it properly. You'll notice the other thing that we have in here is label. So let's say I want to label this of I met these people at the chamber. You can make a bunch of labels that may be specific. So maybe I met you through Joe's posting party. Maybe I met you through Grand Connection. Maybe I met you through Innovation Women. If you want to remember where you met them, or maybe you want to remember what type of business you want to do with them. This is for the podcast. This is for the book. Then you can start separating out those labels in a way that makes sense, and it will tag those people so you can filter on them later when you go to send an email. So we'll import. We'll see how long this takes. Didn't take very long at all. I only had one person in there, but at least it imported. So here's my fascinating last name to one person there and their information. It did not grab the email, so we'll need to see what's going on there. It tells me when I imported them, and that label for the chamber is right on there. So the nice thing is if you have a huge spreadsheet of all those people and you just want to at least put them in your contacts, maybe you're not going to get to contacting them within 24 hours, or maybe it's not urgent. It's another way for you to track like getting a hold of them, and then more easily I can send them an email. It may take a little bit of time for them to import, but this gives you a way to start finding people more easily, and then you can also go by labels. Neighbor chamber. So if I wanted to, let's say, pull everybody that was from the chamber, then I can easily just click that and you'll see this list at the top changed. And then anybody that I had imported from the chamber would be in there. What was limiting it before was importing on today's specific date. So because they have now 2 different labels, I can filter them on 2 different ways. And so if I said, oh, okay, well, who else did I meet? Not at that event, but maybe at a different chamber event. I click on that and now a bunch of other names are gonna show up there. So just a couple of easy ways to use things you already have that you probably didn't know. Any questions
awesome.
on those pieces, or any ways you think you might use them in your business?
For sure. No, that's exactly, I was really glad to hear we were talking about this today, because this is definitely right where I am right now,
Yeah.
organizationally, to get things traffic in the right way.
Export this. So you'll see on this menu right here, there's a up arrow. That's to export. So again, it's not wasted effort. If you're putting everybody in here from that 5 or 6 different spreadsheets, and later on you want to go put it into a CRM or a mailing program, then you just export it. And same thing, you'll get one of those CSV type Excel files, and then you can easily just take that data all in one big batch and upload it into the new system. So they've tried to make some of the stuff a little bit simpler. We don't need engineers and coders and everything to do some of this basic stuff to be able to migrate our own data from one program to the other. The other thing I found helpful is this merge and fix. Just as another, because sometimes people are like, oh my goodness, well, I met that person 2 or 3 times, and maybe they gave me different contact information in different meetings, or I want to make sure all the labels are together. You can also go to merge and fix, and it will actually recommend that it thinks these are 2 of the same people. Maybe you have 2 different email addresses. Maybe they changed companies that they worked for. They got a new cell phone. Who knows what's going on? So when you go into merge and fix, it's actually a little bit AI smart, and it will recommend like, oh, I think these are the same people. And then you can merge the records into one. So again, you'll get all that contact information consolidated.
Well done.
Alrighty. Well, that was all we had today, which is actually a lot in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, thank you. It's been one of those things of I have a lot of clients that come to me and they have these huge CRM programs. Maybe they got talked into go high level or whatever the thing is, and then they don't use it because it's too overwhelming. It's too many things. It's too many moving parts. And at the root of it, we don't have a good process for the follow-up. So I always want us to go back to the fact of what's the process? What's the easiest thing for us as a human? Awesome. Well, it's been wonderful seeing you guys. Thank you guys so much for your input, for keeping me honest as I was doing the training to make sure if something's missing and we're missing a step, we got to know. So everyone else in the community will benefit, and we'll catch you at the next event.